This is the short version of the 5 reasons to play in a tournament. If you're looking for the longer version, it's up here, but also there is a link in the text description. There is an accompanying article to this video and the longer video, so if you're the kind of person who actually prefers to read articles, the link to that is in the text description. Now, the purpose of this article is to inspire and encourage you to play in your first tournament. It's not to tell you that the only way to have fun or the only way to improve is to play in tournaments, because that's not true. Plenty of people around the world just play with their friends or family or a small group of people, never play in a tournament and have a lot of fun. And that's fine. But if you're the kind of person who wants to improve, and I guess that that's the case because you're watching this video and hopefully other videos of mine, then one of the best ways to do that is to enter a tournament. And I'm going to talk about the 5 reasons for doing that. Number 1, it fires up your competitive spirit. Some viewers may know that I'm actually an English teacher, that's my job, and squash coaching now is a hobby for me. And I can tell you that the students who improve the fastest, have a better level of English and work harder are the ones that are aiming to pass an exam. Now the same is true of sport. Sport by its nature is competitive. You're playing against somebody. But by playing in an official tournament, you will have the motivation to work harder. You could have played your friend Sally or Jack 50 times and beaten them 50 times. But you play them once in a tournament and Sally or Jack beat you, that's the one that matters. The friendlies that you play with your friend are exactly that. They're friendlies, they don't matter. The tournament one matters. So if you're the kind of person who thrives on competitive matches, the tournament is a great way to do that. Now, if you're not that kind of person, or you don't know if you're that kind of person, playing in the first tournament will just make you work that little bit harder. All I ask is that you try 2 or 3 tournaments, and then if you don't like it or it doesn't sort of suit you, you don't have to. But I'm sure you'll find that you'll work harder and you'll focus more on improving your squash. The second one is that you get a chance to see facilities that you would never normally see. Now, many clubs don't allow people who are not guests or members to enter their facilities. So unless you're a guest of somebody, you might not get to visit these places. Now, you might say to me, but Philip, a court is a court is a court. And it's true, but courts are also different. In a previous video, I talked about how some courts are high, some courts are low, some courts are hot, some courts are cold. And adapting to that situation can be a really good thing. Now, if you only play in your local court, you never get an opportunity to make those adaptations. And it's those adaptations that can help you improve being a new player. Also, you might see a whole new side of squash that you never knew before. Your club might just have one club night and then that's it, but you might visit another club and they got like 20 box leagues and a huge ladder and a regular tournament and 3 club nights a week, and you'd be thinking, oh, okay, this is pretty cool, maybe I could think about joining here. Of course, can't do that every place that you go to, but seeing different facilities can be a really interesting way to see how different squash can be in different areas, especially if you travel even further than your local area. The third one is to meet new people and play and then hopefully beat them. Now, I'm not trying to set up a dating site, meet new people. It's not about the social aspect. It's not about simply meeting people. It's about meeting people who might become new practice partners, who might introduce you to people who become new practice partners. So by going to a tournament, you suddenly sort of start to network with people who could add to your playing circle. We have a phrase in English which is, variety is the spice of life. And it's this idea that if you're playing the same person all of the time, yes, you might have a lot of fun. Yes, those games might be really, really close. But playing new people is just so much more interesting. Not every time. I certainly wouldn't want to play a new person every single match for the rest of my life. I like playing the same people again because the people that I like playing are the ones that we're quite close and I want to beat this person. Alberto, I'm going to beat you one day in length games. But what I'm saying is that by playing new people, you get to adapt a little bit. You get to make some changes to your game. You actually get to play better squash because you're meeting new people. Having to change your game to the court, to the situation, and to the new people is one of the things that really make you improve. Even if the person you play is much better than you, I would still recommend somebody play 5 different people who maybe were a little bit less or the same as standard. Those 5 people will help you improve more than just one person in general. So, meeting new people, getting the contacts, and then being able to practice with them and have some fun with different types of players. Number 4, having to referee or mark a game. Now, I'm going to use those 2 terms interchangeably. In the past, there used to be one referee and one marker, but now one person does both of those jobs. Having to do that job will encourage you to read the rules, will encourage you to learn more about what is and isn't a stroke, and will actually make you a better squash player. Not significantly, you're not going to suddenly start marking matches and then suddenly start beating everybody, but it will teach you a little bit more about how you should be moving. It might teach you some of the mistakes that you're making, that maybe you're giving your opponent too much room and then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Knowing the rules and how to apply them is really important. And if you don't know the rules, then you're not playing the game to its maximum capability, as it were. I mean, can you imagine a professional squash player not knowing how to give room? And yes, I know you could argue that they're always pushing the rules, but I mean, the phrase by a song, you can't play the game until you know how to break the rules. Okay, all right, I've gone off topic. The point here is that by learning to do some marking when you're at a tournament, you will see a different aspect of the game, and you probably will become a little bit better because of it in how you move about the court and how much cooperation you give your opponent. And the last one, because it can be an absolute blast. Now, that might seem like a cheap way of just adding 5 to the list, but it's not. Playing in tournaments is a huge amount of fun. You get all of those things that I've mentioned before. You got the spirit, you've got the new places, you get to meet people, you've got to do a little bit of marking, which is not fun. But that whole thing is really fun. Even if you don't win any matches, even if you don't get anybody's telephone number at the end that you can practice with, just being around other people who play squash and watching the great games and going to those new facilities, just the whole thing is a lot of fun. It's nice to win, really. It's really nice to win. But if I knew I was never going to win another tournament, well, I know that. I'm never going to win another tournament in my life. Would I still go to tournaments? If I could still play, yeah, because it's the challenge, the being around people that have a similar interest than I do, which is obviously squash. So that general aspect of having a lot of fun is very important. And maybe there's the social aspect afterwards. I'm not the kind of person who enjoys being in bars or restaurants very much, but that aspect is really important for some people. There's the after tournament dinner, or people meet in a bar for some drinks and you just chat about things. That aspect can be really important for people. So if that's one of the things you do, then you should do that. You should enjoy that. That's what I'm saying. Sorry. All right. So I hope that this video was useful, as always. If you've got any experiences or reasons that I forgot that people should be playing their first tournaments, ways to encourage them, then please post them in the comments and other viewers can read those. This is a subscription button. If and only if you think my content is useful, please consider subscribing. This is a collection of the other 5 things videos. I'm sure there's something in there to interest you. And this is a video that YouTube thinks is a good fit for you based on what you've been watching. And remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.